use a few of my precious minutes just to say that was pretty powerful. Listening to those stories, very, very powerful. Thank you for that. So I am honored to be here this evening to speak about arguably one of my most passionate topics, and that's Point Pleasant Child Care Centre. Point Pleasant Child Care Centre was started in the early 70s with some federal money at the time, and we've been going strong ever since. We have 110 children, work out of 3 locations, and we have great staff. I've been the executive director at Point Pleasant Child Care Centre for 38 years, and really, it feels like the blink of an eye. I can't believe it when I say that. And my passion, my commitment is to creating an organization that is a community, that feels like a community, that gives people a sense of belonging, children a sense of belonging. And to illustrate that, I can tell you that I have come so far in my career that now I'm enrolling the children of children who used to come to the child care program. And in an odd kind of tweak of justice, one of my nonprofit board members used to come to the center when he was a little boy. So our organization makes such an impact because of the people. Working with people in any nonprofit is about building relationships, and that's sure what early childhood programs are all about. One of my favorite quotes is that we are always in a state of becoming, and that's what I see our educators are doing. They're helping children to become. Children are developing, they're growing, they're becoming. We might use words like play-based or child-centered, but make no mistake that in a high-quality early child care environment, it's more than mere supervision or fun activities. There is so much that I could tell you about our organization and how we care for and educate children. I could use words like emergent, responsive, intentional, inclusive, or developmentally appropriate, but these would be just words in the end. I want to tell you a story that I hope will illustrate what taking those words and turning it into action actually looks like. Some years ago, we enrolled a child with cerebral palsy. The child was non-mobile, and as she gained physical ability, she began to use a walker and a wheelchair. She progressed socially, making very close friends who accepted her, friends who didn't see her disability, they saw her. I wish I could show you a picture of her that we have, and it's a beautiful picture. The children are standing in a playhouse, and there are 3 children with her, and because she couldn't really stand safely on her own, those 3 children just kind of instinctively kind of nudged closer into her and held her up. And she looks like a flower emerging out of the leaves of her friends. It's quite touching. She progressed cognitively. Her vocabulary increased rapidly, and although she was difficult to understand at times, she did love to have long conversations. She was curious and loved to explore, needed a cuddle now and then when she became frustrated by her physical limitations. But we watched her blossom right before our eyes. And then one day I remember watching her walk unaided across the classroom, amazed that even though she tottered and was unsteady, she was determined to reach her destination, and she was successful. There is no doubt that this was a very determined young lady. However, I know that our collective efforts to help her to develop her physical skill were important, but perhaps more importantly were the skills that she derived to help her navigate the emotional world that she was going into. So over the years, there have been many such stories. And I want to tell you that about a year ago, she came in to visit, and this young girl, she's in junior high now, and she's taking dance lessons, and she had just debuted on the stage. Did the acceptance and quiet support of her peers contribute to the development of her healthy self-image? Did we collectively help her to gain the confidence to challenge herself, accept herself, and know that she was loved for herself? I like to think so, and I get goosebumps when I think about her dancing on that stage. What we tell children about themselves becomes their reality. As educators, we act as a mirror, reflecting the child back to themselves. Everything in the environment matters, but none more so than how we make children feel. Children need to see themselves in the world around them. They must recognize themselves in others, whether it is skin color or physical ability. As you know, it is sometimes difficult to take the actions we need in order to live our values, particularly if there are financial constraints. We wanted to ensure that our commitment to inclusion was visible, so some years ago, we were able to employ a teaching assistant with special needs under a wage subsidy program. And what I didn't want to be was that organization that employed them when their wages were subsidized and then let them go because we couldn't afford them. The impact of having this person on our staff was so powerful for the children that we found ways to find funds within our budget to hire her on a part-time basis after the program ended. Your support this evening will allow us to offer her full-time employment, as well as fulfill the dream to hire another adult with special needs on a part-time basis. By supporting adults with special needs, we create opportunities for them to be engaged in meaningful work and to become a part of our community. This is a natural extension of our organizational mission, which is to ensure that every child and adult feels the power of their own possibility. I would like to thank you very much for hearing our story this evening, and to just tell you that this has nothing to do with my presentation. Early childhood education is really important for our young children, and good early childhood education is the key. It's not a space, it's not a service, it is something that we have to do to help grow children, to help them be in the world. Thank you for your time.
Let's have another round of applause for all three of us.